What do new lenders miss that experienced private money lenders are always catching? Now, there's some subtle red flags that have come up over the years. So let's go over a few of them. One of them is just character. Okay, like I know this is a very ambiguous kind of area and it's very subjective, but it's extremely important because again, this is a relationship based business and it's private for a reason, right? You can decide who you want to loan to or not, and you can decide your terms, and it's all up to you. Okay. Now, the way that character comes in is different sets of values. Like, how honest is this borrower or investor, right? Some of that stuff will come out in your communications with them when you're going over documents. And let me give you an example. So I had a funding request, and this is from a owner of a company. So this wasn't a fix and flip loan. This was a small business owner who was running a company and submitted a loan request. And I asked for the business documents. So I asked for operating agreement and I asked for a document showing that they had the authorization to enter into loans or basically to take on debt. Or asked for a profit and loss statement, cash flow statement, and some other documents. Now, the borrower was being a little shifty, okay? So trying to I don't know, not sweet talk, but slick talk really is what it is. And side note, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I'm a woman or what, but I do find that men and women will try to use their charm to get out of certain things or to downplay the importance of certain things. And I don't know if it's because I'm a woman or what, but I have not heard from male borrowers male private lenders that they have the same experience. I feel like there's something about being a woman that makes people think you are going to be more lenient or you're going to have more empathy or whatever it is. And it comes up in the landlord space too, but another story for another day. Anyway, this borrower started trying to slick talk or make light of my requests. And I was like, I still need the documents, So this is someone that I hadn't worked with before. And so I'm like, okay, just let me know when you send them. So this whole time, it was just me and this one man communicating. Okay. So, all the representations were such that he had the authority to bind the company. It just seemed like it was going to be pretty straightforward. Now I get the operating agreement and it turns out there's like 4 other owners of the company. And I'm like, whoa, what is going on here? And so this person isn't even the majority owner. And I'm like, can you even bind the company in this way? So now I'm reading through the operating agreement, trying to figure out what kind of authority do you have? And now do I have to communicate with all these other people? But the character issue that was here for me is, why didn't you tell me that up front? Okay. And look, part of it is my own fault because, first of all, I should have had this person complete a funding request form and then on that form ask about the owners of the company. So that's my bad, right? But also, you could have told me that there were other owners in the company that I should be talking to. So I didn't like that. And I felt like that was a character flaw because I felt like in responding in a slick way and trying not to provide the documents, they were trying to hide that there were other people, and so maybe they were thinking, all right, I'm gonna give these documents and maybe she won't even ask, or maybe she won't even look at them. And so when I brought it up, it was even more downplayed. So when I said, hey, there's 4 other owners of this company, I have to talk to all of them. It's like, oh no, they're not really active in the business. It ain't like that, blah, blah. I'm like, so what had happened was when you set up this company and you decided to do it with 4 other people, you kind of bypassed the right to just be like, it don't matter. It does matter. So yeah, that was a character issue for me, right? And so that came up in the due diligence process. Okay. So if you start to see those types of character issues, that's probably a sign that you shouldn't move forward, okay? And because new private lenders are eager to do their first transaction, and they don't want to be viewed as being too nitpicky, and they're really thinking about all these things that are floating around their heads, they may move forward on something subtle like that instead of just being like, you know what, let's pause here, let's not move forward. So that's one thing, character issues. Another thing is inconsistency of documentation. Now, when you get a funding request and you start to look at the different documents and what they say, you want to make sure everything is lining up and matching, right? If this, borrower is saying that they want to pay, or they can only afford to pay $2,000 a month over the term of the loan, and you're looking at their cash flow statement and it's just negative for the past 2 years, where's the $2,000 going to come from? Right? That's an inconsistency. Okay, so make sure you're really examining those documents. But these are the kinds of misses that new lenders will make. They may be moving too fast, they may not understand how to review the documents. They may not know what to do next. Maybe you want to ask for another source of income, right? Maybe you want to ask for a letter of explanation. What's going on here? Like, why why is it all red? Why is this a negative? What's your plan to pay me every month? You said you can afford $2,000 a month. What's the plan? Now I'm starting to question everything. Do you even own this property? Like, what's going on here? So that kind of, inconsistency in documentation, subtle character red flags, over time, you may start to notice patterns that raise red flags, but you have to be attentive, right? You have to pay attention. You also want to make sure that you're following your written lending process, which is what will help you recognize inconsistencies and patterns in people and borrowers over time to make you sharper as a private money lender, right? It'll help you underwrite a lot faster. It'll help you deny a lot faster, move through all the crap so you can actually get to the good deals. Okay, so with experience comes some of these things, right? The more you do, the more you underwrite, the more due diligence you do, the better you're going to get. So don't be discouraged, but keep your eyes open, okay? Pay attention and notice the subtleties, notice the red flags, notice the character flaws.
This is a very serious situation.
And then make a decision from there and keep it pushing.